Great to see you, Melissa. Now tell us your story. You yet again, this just seems to be happening. We've had a guest on earlier on the show. People say something on Twitter or on social media. It's deemed by whoever. As James said, we have an e-safety commissioner who seems to set herself up as the ultimate arbiter of all these things. You were suspended. Tell us your story.
That's correct. So I, as a naturally curious person, was reading lots of academic articles on different topics and was tweeting these and exploring areas where this social issue is kind of affecting people. And it's just something I do in my spare time because I'm interested in anything to do with sociology and developments, and tweeting away happily on my own account when it became scoured and 40 tweets were extracted from it and put forward, and it's claimed that I'm now a transphobe, which is utterly ridiculous. And it's just outrageous to me that this has even happened.
And Melissa, this is quite sinister in my mind in that it stops women from explaining how they feel about these issues, from expressing their opinions, even on their own social media private pages, because there can be some really heavy consequences. Tell us what happened to you and also about your treatment from the media, because I read an ABC piece about this ordeal and some of the reporting in that, to my mind, was fairly questionable.
Correct. So once you're deemed to be a misbehaving counsellor, you're then sent to an internal arbitration process where there's no sense of natural justice or open justice. Really, I don't know if people have ever had it before, but I've never been able to take in my lawyer to represent me at these arbitrations. And then it's all presented, and then the arbiter will hand down your findings, and then your fellow counsellors table that in the meeting, and then you're given your sanctions. So it was very authoritarian. My number one sanction for the last one was reprimand. 2 was that I'm to seek some training as well. I have to get training as well after these arbitrations. Basically I just standing strong because I don't believe that someone else's opinion and what they think should be the outcomes. And to appeal that, of course, it's at your own cost to the Supreme Court, which is just out of my league. Yep.
James.
Well, tell us too also about what's happening in Victoria around councils more broadly from the Labor Party, because I'm quite curious about this, that there is some new authoritarian move, and this seems to be a real theme of the program today, about authoritarianism and where this country is heading. Tell us about this.
I've got grave concerns. Having been through this process, I have described it as a Soviet system many times, much to the horror of those that work in it. But that is the experience I've had. I have been shamed and humiliated. It's been put through the press, as Rita was just saying, with the other people's opinions twisted to be my exact quote. And the ABC were called out. Yeah, so that was terrible to do that to human beings. And we've seen this through history in China and the Mao Cultural War. And it seems like all the same tactics to me. And now there appears to be a pattern. And I would love to know statistically, and I don't know how that could be achieved, but what the political standings are of everybody that's been taken to many of these arbitrations.
Rita.
And of course, I've been suspended for a month, but the applicant was pushing for 6 months, which would have left my ward with no counsellor to represent them whatsoever, and conveniently, then it would have been the election time.
Well, so you mentioned that if you want to appeal what's happened to you, it's at your own expense, and it is quite a sizable amount. Does the person who bring this against you, do they have to fork out any money, or is that all taxpayer funded or ratepayer funded?
All the ratepayers' money, yeah, that's right. And to total now with the arbitrations by the same applicant, it's been $50,000 of our local ratepayers' money. And none of it's true. And I've just been glad to be given a platform to speak now, because you're silenced when you're going through the process. So it's quite, it's not the way we should operate in Australia.
You mentioned that part of this process, and I would argue that the process is part of the punishment, but part of the process is that you've got to submit to some training? Is that some sort of a re-education program
Sounds
to
like it. Yep.
help convince
Yes,
you
it's
that
not- yes.
males should be in female-only spaces and that sort of mindset?
You don't actually get outlined what it's to be exactly either,
Okay.
or who's to be facilitating that. So it's just a matter of waiting and finding out. I've got 2 lots of training now that I have to attend, but I find that rather patronising. I'm fully aware of these issues and these things, and have met people from all walks of life, but it seems to me that it's almost using people's sexualities now as a political tool in order to garner power and boost others' public profiles. And I find that very concerning. I don't think that's healthy. And I'm sure there's many people out there that are saying, oh, we don't want to be part of this, you know.
Melissa, you're very brave, and many Outsiders viewers would love to support you and get in touch with you. Where can they get in touch with you to show their support for you? As you mentioned, this is communist totalitarianism creeping right here in Australia. And don't think it's not going to affect you or your kids or your family. This stuff is coming after us all. Melissa, where can people contact you?
I do have a Facebook page. I've changed it to Citizen Melissa Ferguson so I can legally upload things and speak out. That's why I'm appearing today as a citizen on suspension.
Yep.
And I also, my emails are blocked at council at the moment, but in a month's time I'm emailable.
Great. Okay.
So,
Once she's undergone the re-education
Yeah,
program and has the correct opinion,
We'll get you back on
then
the
you
show,
can email
Melissa.
her.
We'll get you back on after the re-education. You'll be
And she
going,
can re-educate
yes,
us.
here we go.
You know how it all
Let's
went.
be woke, you know.
She'll just be here waving a rainbow flag at us, not
Palestinian
answering
one
any
too.
questions. And a Palestinian
Fantastic.
one in each hand.
Thanks so
all right.
much, Melissa. Thanks, mate.
it'll be interesting. Thank you.
Great.
Ta.
Thanks so much
Thanks
for
very
coming
much.
on.